On this little corner, at the edge of the world, they gather. Artists, rebels, dreamers. They come to this place of water and fire to honor those who came before. This is Burning Bear.
My name is Steve Backus. I'm the son of Judy McVeigh, world-renowned chainsaw carver, a pioneer chainsaw carver, one of the very first women chainsaw carvers that did it and did it well. And she passed away 1 year ago. She was a hard worker, independent, appreciated what she had at her fingertips to create an income. We were in an area where there was lots of wood, chainsaws. You had a small community of a lot of poor people, and she was a single mom raising 3 kids. You get to know the guy's name, who turns the power off, all that kind of stuff. We were wrapped around the timber industry, shake cutting and logging and all that kind of stuff. So she actually punked whistle on a logging job. You know, she graded shakes and shake mills. I mean, she did all that kind of stuff. We were in a resource-rich area for the wood. I mean, cedar and that kind of stuff in this part of the world. It's like the marble in Italy was to Michelangelo. This is the best wood in the world for doing what we do. You know, from Northern California to BC, it's like, this is the place you want to go. There's been a continuous chainsaw carving presence here since the 1970s. Where you want to go see a carver at? Well, you go to the coast. You're going to see a chainsaw carver. They're part of the landscape. When the chainsaw carvings competition started up in the early 80s, they brought everyone together on one piece of real estate. It was so successful in the beginning, from the showmanship, the art, the festival, the extravaganza, spectacle.
Why don't you put your hands together and give these artisans a big roaring round of applause for a job very, very well done. All right, with no further ado, we're going to get started on our first item up here. Keep in mind you are at an auction, so if there's relatives that you're waving at, you could end up owning yourself a wood carving. 45 to 50, now 50 it is. 50 to 55, now get 55. bid 55. 50's going once. Do I hear 55? 55 it is. 60 it is. 65 it is. 65 it is. 150 bucks. 200 bucks. 200, look at 2 1/4. Now I got 200 bid, 2 1/4. 200's going once. 2 1/4 it is. 2 1/4, 250. Now send it 2 1/4, 250. 2 1/4's going once. 250 it is. 50 it is, 55 it is, 55 to 60 now, 60 it is, 65 it is, 160 now, send it 150, 160. 150's going once, do I hear 160? 160 it is. 190, 200 now, send it 200 it is. 200, 2 1/4, now get 200 bid, 2 1/4. 250, now send it 2 1/4, 250. 2 1/4, go 250 it is. 250, 275, now I got 250, 275. 250's going up, 275. Sold right there for $950. Give a nice round of applause. That was a steal for that piece right there. Lucky number 50, number 50.
This Burning Bear has turned into a bit of a memorial for our people who have passed, and it's become part of the tradition of it. For me personally, it's going to be a tribute to my mom, who I'm a second-generation carver to. It's pretty cool that we're going to do it for her this year. She would love it.
Steve Backus is standing right here next to the sea captain, and both Backus, the auctioneer that was just up here in front, and their sister Lynn Backus. Their mother passed last year, and this sculpture is in honor of Judy McVeigh. She's a pioneer. She's a pioneer, female pioneer chainsaw artist and competitor on the West Coast, if not the whole country.
She loved horses very much, and Steve asked me to start with a horse head on top and go from there. It's just a very deep meaning this year and a reflection on her life and the art form that she brought and how she was able to give other young women courage to get started in something like this.
I'd like to take this moment to sincerely thank you for dedicating your time to come here today. On March 7th at 1:35 p.m., the strongest woman I've ever known left our world. The lessons she taught me go far beyond the expectations of a grandmother.
And I would also like to thank Judy McVeigh, my grandma.
We also have another award for the most senior carver who's been out there participating, and that honor goes to my mother, Judy McVeigh.
While I was growing up, I never realized the scale of what kind of character and artist she was. I didn't know who set the bar, and it wasn't until my 20s that I truly realized that she was the bar, because there's nobody else to compare to.
As time went on, of course, she became, the elder statesman, mother of the carvers, and she was also that generosity and tolerance thing. She's got some little kid, and she's showing him how she's drawing on the mural. She was a teacher. There was no secrets. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Try this. You reach a certain point in your life, you got to give it all away. The knowledge.
My grandmother's carving, signs, paintings, and murals wasn't just a job or work to her. It was 100% pure passion. And that passion flowed from her through the lives of her children and into the lives of the chainsaw artists and communities you see today in the Northwest and some even around the world.
Chainsaw carving has given me hope and purpose. Being able to create something new anytime you grab a piece of wood. Steve invited me down. He's to me, he's kind of like the godfather of chainsaw carving, you know. I couldn't be more grateful for it. It got me motivated.
Chainsaw carving has given me freedom from working for other people, freedom to express myself through my artwork and make a living at the same time.
This is just the starting from the season. Normally, this time I carving the ice. I carving from 16, but the hand carving. Hand and hammer, sometimes the axe, and the powerful tool was an axe. Now I love the chainsaw carving.
I choose to come west to see the Wild West. I know Steve Backus for many years. He said, hey, we carve all red cedar here up west instead of white pine. Why don't you come and try it out?
There's a lot of East Coast carvers that come out here for a show and they never go home.
They have a lot of beautiful, good carvers here. They do beautiful work. And to compete with them, you got to know one thing or two.
Three years ago, I met Steve Backus. He told me about this place. I've been around chainsaw carvers since I was like 5 or 6. 2017, 18 is when I just started kind of playing around with it. Somebody gave me a free saw that was broken, and then that got me into the saw mechanic business as well. So there was two things I was getting into at the time, and then I took off from there from that point on.
Chainsaw carving has given me a life that I didn't expect to have, of travel, meeting new people, a whole new family. You know, when you're down, you got like, you know, hundreds of people right there picking you back up. It's a pretty cool life, but it's a really hard life. You gotta be one with it.
Chainsaw carving has given to me a new insight on artwork, a new perspective on how to look at something and imagine the core before you even touch it. Widens your imagination, broadens your thought process, and puts you in a happy place.
I'm 78 years old, and I'm a chainsaw carver. What are you doing for fun today?
Even though I'm not a carver, I do a lot of the chainsaw milling, traveling around with all the Viking bikers of the art world.
Oh, they're terrible. But in such a nice way though, you know, you just
We're kind of the biker Vikings of the art world.
Yes, that's right. Biker Vikings.
It's a great community of people, and it's really fun to be a part of and take our family on amazing adventures to different places all over the Pacific Northwest.
Chainsaw carving has given me a creative outlet that I've craved for many years, but haven't given myself because I've been a busy mom of 2 kids. And between work and raising little kids, I just haven't had the time. And when I met Steve Backus, he kind of gave me a shove back into it as a legacy to carry on from his mother, Judy McVeigh. And it's just made me so happy ever since. I'm in my happy place when I'm carving.
So many things can be traced back to her. She's like the ripple in the center of the pond, and that ripple's still going outwards.
I look at her and I look at her work and I see what she's accomplished with what little she had, and that is an inspiration. No matter what you have, no matter who you are, she's the type of person that can teach you that you can do it. I've been thinking about her a lot since she's passed. She just had that fire in her. Nobody was going to take that away from her. And look at what she built as a result of it. Like, look at all her children, all her grandchildren that have come up because of her. Anybody who I've met just speaks about her character more than anything and how empowering she was for them. And she's that for me.
She was a pretty tough, independent woman. I remember as a kid, she had a poster on the wall that said, "A woman's place is in the House and the Senate." She was married to a logger, a drunken logger, if you will, and we grew up in Hump Tulips. So when she started carving, she had did a lot of things because he was an inadequate breadwinner at times. And so she did a lot of stuff. She graded shakes and shake mills. She nailed rids. She tended bars. She drove cabs. She did all the stuff. And so when her brother came by in 72 or 3 and kind of got her started carving, it gave her an independence that not many women had in those days. It started with my grandfather got a contract to clean out a lake, Eel Lake, down in south of Reedsport, Oregon. And he was like a World War II veteran, hard hat diver. And he would go down, they would literally go down in the hard hat, hook tongs up to these big logs, float them to the surface and take them to the edge of where the state park is today. And he had a shake mill and a sawmill. And my Uncle Mike was like 17 years old at the time and had talked him into buying a chainsaw because at the time, 1956, 7, they were still using the big drag saws to buck logs. And so he got a chainsaw, and Mike, being a 17-year-old kid, started playing with it, making tiki heads, Easter Island heads. And then he went down and visited with Ken Kaiser, the guy who carved the Trees of Mystery. He's probably one of the first carvers that did it for money. And it was documented. He would have been in his 50s at the time, and my uncle would have been 20-something. So it's the classic young guy going to the old guy asking, "Hey, how do you do this?" And then he did it. He started a full-time business. The technology was just coming in, especially on the West Coast. In 71 or 2, he came back. My grandpa said, "You get back there and teach your sister how to carve," type of deal. And he went back and he got her started making, little totem poles and things like that. And it started her out, and then she never looked back. She did a lot of signs and murals for like shake companies. And then, I'll give you a couple $100 and a load of wood, and that started that process. And she wasn't afraid of hard work, which, as you know, it's part of the chainsaw carving game in no uncertain terms. It's a pretty industrial art form. She was unafraid to, match wits with anybody. Some guy would give her some shit. I would be sitting there as an 18-year-old kid, and she was the carver, and some guy would come up, and he'd start talking to me. And I'm like, I don't know nothing. Just talk to her, because she was the carver. But she dealt with that kind of attitude so much.
This still happens to this day where they'll look past me and look at my assistant and be like, so how did you do that? They kind of just look at me, and I'm the one covered in sawdust and chaps, and they're kind of in disbelief. The audience was the one that was kind of bringing that tension. But at the same time, I'm like, all the more reason for me to be here with a saw in my hand. If that's the response we're getting, then yes, I need to keep showing up. I feel like Judy paved the way for me in terms of the men in the community. I feel like she kind of put them in line for me. Sometimes I feel like that because they're a brotherhood.
She competed in the very first contest in Puyallup Fair in 1881. In fact, she got 4th. And she beat this big chauvinistic macho fellow from Portland. And he was just beside himself to get beat by a girl. It comes down to good sportsmanship. Some of the carvers were pissed off because they didn't win, and some of them came up and said, congratulations, you did a great job. And she did. She did do a great job.
Someone like Steve, he is the biggest advocate for female carvers, and we are so fortunate to have him in our community. He raises female carvers up, which is amazing.
You got to have constant diversity. It's got to be, that's only where the growth can exist.
The female population with chainsaw carvers is growing substantially, especially over the last, 5-10 years, and it's pretty awesome to see the skill set come up so fast. I was 17 at the time, and I had laminated a bunch of cedar together, and I was trying to sculpt it with an angle grinder. And I was getting really frustrated with how slow it was going. And so I just in a moment thought, I need a chainsaw, which is really funny because it was the one tool my dad didn't have. I was the kind of kid that was always in my dad's shop helping him, but that was the one tool I never saw growing up. And so I asked him for one, and obviously he said no, and I let it go. And then became a teacher, I traveled, and then 10 years went by, and he called me and he's like, do you still want to learn how to use a chainsaw? And I was like, what are the odds of that coming back? Because we never spoke about it since that first conversation. And so I was like, well, yeah, what are the odds? Yes. What happened was he was drinking in a bar, and the guy next to him, John, was an amateur chainsaw carver. So they got going on just that art form. And my dad's like, I have a daughter that would probably want to meet you. And so I met John, and he taught me how to use a saw one summer. He wouldn't let me run it for 2 months. It was just put the chain on, now take it off, put it back on, take it off. Hold it like this because you're a woman. He taught me a lot of safety information. It was priceless, really. And then he's like, I can't teach you how to carve, figure that out on your own. And so I just jumped into competitions and then just kept going. That's what I love about this art form, is it pushes you mentally and it pushes you physically. And that's where growth happens, when you push yourself to that edge. You can do this. If you want to do this, you can do it. Nobody can take that away from you, because it's just you and your saw. Then when you lift your head up and you see a little girl with her dad staring at you, you're like, that's why I'm doing this. I don't back down from challenges, and I've seen that throughout my whole chainsaw carving career. No matter what, I will take it on.
The carving community is a family, and when we can come together and help one of our own, we take advantage of doing that.
We form a pretty tight bond of family and friends. They just know what to do. They see what has to be done. They do what has to be done.
One other thing that we've got to do first here, get Steve Backus up here and Bridget. We have a special award that my brother here will tell you about.
Bridget is the recipient of this award, and we'd like everyone to give her a great big hand. And here's a plaque that was made, and this plaque was made by Judy's daughter, her granddaughter, and her great-granddaughter. They put some dots on it. And also, this fellow was very generous, $1,000. Yeah! Take that! Good job! The Judy McVeigh Trailblazer Award. Thank you very much. All right.
Oh, that was, I feel like I was sidelined. Didn't see it coming.
All right, one more round of applause right there for Bridget, folks.
I'm just processing it all, and it's an honor to be recognized by them. It's an honor to be recognized in honor of her.
She was pretty wise along the ways of life and people, and she was definitely a force of nature when it came to existing here on Earth.
Judy, she's a legend, right? Like she did things that nobody had done before her.
My brother and my sister and I and my nephew and my nieces, we made her coffin. We used a board from here at the beach. We used a board from Whidbey Island, one from the Spokane area, and one from Bellingham. It was a happy, sad deal. It was the last project we worked on together, and she would have loved it. She would have loved it. I loved her a lot, and she was good at protecting the people in her circle. Not just her kids, although you didn't want to screw with her kids when we were little. She'd gut you.
Everybody go!